knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white on the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro. I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I would slap you.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Welcome to the second hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show. I am Jesse Lee Peterson, uniting the racists with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. A good friend is with me, Randy Thomasson, president of SaveCalifornia.com, the campaign for children and families, and the family is under attack like never before in the history of America that I'm aware of. And Randy has been out there on the front line forever fighting for the family. I've known him for a long time. He's a good man, and I appreciate Randy being here. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jesse Lee, my friend.
How are you?
Thankful to Jesus. Looking at the sunrise when I drove, and it's a beautiful day.
Right on. Did you by chance see any of the Democratic convention last night?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
but
I don't blame you.
I get a lot of media from the internet, and yeah, it's pretty bad. People who name the name of Christ, when they forget that idolatry is not just bowing down in front of statues, and it doesn't exist in America, they think. No, if we do not love Jesus first with everything we do, including voting, we've got idols in our hearts, and that's what the Apostle John warned in his first letter against. He said, keep yourself from idols, because they're all around. It's not just a statue. It can be a political party.
Well, they definitely idolized Obama and Big Mama last night. It was amazing to see that. I'm thinking, what are these people thinking? Obama is not God, even though he thinks that he is. He's really not.
Well, you can get the same effect at a rock concert. I was invited to one when I was in high school, and I'd never been to one, and it was something I've never seen before. The waving. I mean, then God made man, and God made man to worship Him. But if God made man that way, and man disagrees with worshiping God, he still has a hunger to worship. So he will worship at a rock concert, or he will worship at a political party convention. Yeah. And this can happen at any political party. It's just really man worship, and people say, oh, I feel good around you. This is why some people get into bad relationships.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I want to talk to you about a couple of bills that are pending there in Sacramento, California, and these bills are affecting the family like never before, and I want the people to be aware so they can get involved. The first one is SB 1172. It banned parents from seeking counseling for their child who thinks they are homosexual. It also penalizes licensed counselors who care enough to help gender-confused children who have often been molested or raped. Is this true? Tell us about that.
Well, yes, and again, you're right. There's a bunch of ferocious bills that have passed the California legislature, and the Democrats rule the legislature. They're in control of those seats, and they're responsible for putting this bill and other bad bills on the desk of Democrat Governor Jerry Brown, who has this month to sign or veto. But this really is the worst one, in my opinion. Senate Bill 1172 actually reads, quote, under no circumstances shall a mental health provider engage in sexual orientation change efforts with a patient under 18 years of age. And so this basically slams the door on parents who have a child who was molested and as a result of that has confusion about their gender, because this is often a response of a child who's been raped or molested.
Yeah.
A sexual perpetrator got to them outside the house, and the kid has emotional problems, and not only that drew him into it, perhaps, but that resulted from it. And a gender identity, gee, I'm a boy, am I attracted to men? Some of it was pleasurable to me, perhaps. There was a identification with the man. Why did I do this? Who am I? Why? What does this mean about me, that he took advantage of me? Am I attractive to men because I'm a boy? What is this? What does this mean here? And there is a gender confusion, and now parents would be prohibited from getting that. They could only get it from a volunteer pastor who's not an expert. But if you're even an intern at a counseling office, you could not provide it, because then the state could come after you with a fine or some other type of punishment.
So it's not keeping the parents from counseling with them. The parents will not be able to take their kids to a licensed counselor to help these kids, right?
Right. The counselor will not be able to give any help. In fact, the mental health provider, this is who cannot help these molested children. A physician, a surgeon who's a psychiatrist. So any psychiatrist cannot help. A psychologist cannot help. A psychological assistant, a licensed marriage and family therapist, a registered marriage and family therapist, intern or trainee, an educational psychologist, a licensed clinical social worker, an associate clinical social worker, a licensed professional clinical counselor, a registered clinical counselor, an intern or a trainee at a counseling office. See, all these people now, when they see a family with a molested child walk into the door and say, hey, can you help our son or daughter who's confused about his or her gender, they have to turn around, look the other way, and say, get out of here.
This is SB 1172, folks. We're going to tell you what to do about it here in a minute. There's another Senate Bill, 1476, allows a child to have 3 or more legal parents. How is that possible?
Well, it's not possible when you know that there's something from a man and something from a woman needed for the miracle of procreation.
Yeah.
So a child always has a biological mother and biological father. And I put mother first there because it's usually the women, lesbians, who are seeking artificial insemination, but there is a father. And now we have a bill, again, by a Democrat and a homosexual activist at that, Mark Leno of San Francisco, and he wants to allow judges to create 3 or 4 or more legal parents when he finds that the two quote mommies, the biological mother and her lesbian partner, quote unquote, that they are neglectful legally or they're unfit to take care of the child, then they want to bring in the guy, the father who donated something, and they are going to then make a 3 parents, or there would be other parents through a marriage issue, 4 parents, even more. And what we're telling Mark Leno is don't mess with parenthood. Don't redefine parenthood. We have adoption. We have termination of parental rights for bad parents. The law could be changed to give special preference to a family member for adoption or foster parenting, but he wants to mess with the parent definition. And, if you can have 3, 4, or more legal parents, well, come on, why do we limit marriage to 2 people? Why not 3, 4, or more people married? Numbers don't matter anymore. Biology doesn't matter anymore. What's in the best interest of children don't matter anymore.
What a mess. Let me take a quick break, Randy. 888-775-3773. We have one more bill I want to tell you about. And got to get involved and stop this. Back in a moment.
I don't know just where you came from. I need
Okay, folks, we're going to get to your calls here a little later. I really want to get these bills out for you. Randy Thomasson is with me, president of SaveCalifornia.com, and you must visit his website and give him all the support that you can. He's on the front line, fighting for the family, been there for a long time. If it wasn't for Randy up in Sacramento, California, informing us as to what's going on, I don't know where we would be. California's in a mess. We just had a little earthquake the other day. This kind of stuff continues. We're going to go into the ocean. We're going to fall right in. Randy, I want to go back to these bills. There's another one, because of time here. There's another one, AB 2109. Tell us about that one.
This would weaken parental rights regarding vaccinations. It would force parents into a lecture session by a doctor or nurse, and the parents would be forced to sign a paper saying they acknowledge the risk, so-called, of not vaccinating, and then they would have to sign another paper, and they would only get exempted from vaccinations that way. Current law is very easy for parents to not vaccinate. They simply fill out a form and submit it to the government school. The homeschoolers don't have to do basically anything, but this new bill by the Democrats, AB 2109, lumps together homeschoolers and the church schools and government schools like they were one and the same, and parents have no rights to get in the way. They just need to be re-educated. But I'll tell you, there's lots of problems with vaccinations. There's toxins in those vaccinations. Yeah. The question is, what's the connection to autism? There are kids who become autistic after they get a bunch of childhood vaccinations. What about the effect on the immune system, the autoimmune system? Parents in the know are concerned about what gets injected into their child's body, and so there are valid reasons for not wanting your child to be vaccinated.
Why would the government or anyone want to take away the right of a parent to make that type of decision for their child or children?
Well, they always use some other reason. They say, well, it's public safety, or in this case, it's public health. Yeah. And really, it's not a public health issue, because really there is, again, the problems of if you're concerned about autism, you've got to be concerned about these artificial vaccinations. If you're concerned about a healthy immune system, you got to be concerned about that as well. And you're not putting others at risk. There are children who get vaccinated who get diseases at a higher level than children who are not vaccinated. It's very strange.
I went into the drugstore the other day, and they asked, when you walked in, the salesperson said, "Oh, would you like to have a vaccination?" I'm like, "No." They wanted to give it to me for free in the drugstore. Have you gone through that? You ever seen that? Yeah.
Yeah, I had that pushed on me by a doctor before I knew what was going on. Yeah. But again, you have to look at your immune system and what it does to you. You're putting a vaccine. You're putting some toxins into your system, and you don't know what it's going to do. But I'm very, very concerned about autism. You can't just say, "Oh, I don't know where it comes from."
Right.
Even Donald Trump, who's known to try to speak the truth when he sees it in front of his face, he said on national TV that he's seen kids get a kid get all these shots. They get like 20 some shots or more. And then he's got autism the next week.
That's crazy. Randy, I was under the impression until I read this report last night that the government has no control over homeschool schools or private schools.
Well, in California, it's called private schools, and homeschools are under that. But they're all called educational institutions, whether they're government or private. And so, again, this is where the government comes in and says, hey, we got the, quote, right to say anything and do anything and require anything, and we are going to require this of all children of school age. And again, parents have to jump through the hoops to opt out. We know strong-willed parents will jump through those additional hoops and opt out, but a lot of children will be vaccinated despite their parents' wishes, because parents just don't want to subject themselves to being berated by a physician or a nurse.
So tell the folks what we all need to do about what's happening. SB 1172, SB 1476, AB 2109. They could go to your website and read more about it, savecalifornia.com. What action should we all take at this point?
Well, Governor Jerry Brown, a Democrat, he is still pretty liberal, but he actually is not as crazy as some of the Democrats that passed the bill in the California legislature. And he needs to be contacted by phone, fax, and computer message. And you can do all that through savecalifornia.com, savecalifornia.com. I'll put out a special invitation to, if you are a Christian counselor or know one, we need letters faxed and written to Governor Jerry Brown against that bill that would ban gender confusion counseling for children.
This is a major assault or attack on the family like I've never seen before.
Well, you got to figure it. If you believe that Christ's values are bad and that parents are hurting their own children, and then you realize that big government is so good when it's big, you just can't resist when you're in power. You are going to actually consider people, things for you to deal with, and you are going to pass these bad bills, call them good. Of course, the Bible says, "Woe to those who call good bad good," and replace odorous for sweet. I'm not quoting the Bible correctly, but it's calling right wrong and wrong right.
Yep.
But it really is a problem when you have these Democrats in control. They've declared war on families, and they justify it.
Well, we see this happening with the platform of the Democratic Party in this Democratic convention. They're taking God out. They're taking out support for Israel. There is no, and they are putting in abortion at any point, even if the taxpayers do have to pay for it. There is no love or protection of the family within the Democratic Party at all.
Jesus Christ would point to them and say, "You are disobeying me when you do this." He would say that to anybody of any party if they go against him on any issue. But Jesus made it clear that marriage is only for a man and a woman in Matthew 19. Even he spoke against homosexuality in Mark chapter 7. It's all in the Bible.
Randy, thanks for being my friend, and thanks for what you're doing. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, appreciate you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for covering this and caring so much. Hope people will take action.
Go to savecalifornia.com, savecalifornia.com. Thank you, Randy. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, Jesse. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy. We're coming back to the phones right after this break.